are doctors, lawyers, teachers, and students. We are daughters, mothers, tías, and hermanas. We are the product of generations of hard work and sacrifice. We live here. We work here. We will be counted here. Our presence is power. Get counted in the 2020 census.
Welcome, Darima.
Oh, okay. Hi. I wasn't sure if I was
No worries.
already live or not on my end, but anyway, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Darima Hamilton, and I am the Executive Director of Instituto de Avance Integral Latino, or IDEAL, CDC for short. Anyway, just want to welcome everybody that's tuning in today for this awesome workshop that we're going to be providing to each and every one of you. So I just want to thank you in advance for making the time to join us today. But I also would like to congratulate you that you've taken this time and the initiative to set this time apart to educate yourselves, especially during these uncertain times that we're in right now, to see how to maximize your funds, your budget, so that you are making sure that you're doing everything possible to manage your finances, protect, and know what's going on with your finances. So I would like to welcome each and every one of you. If you are joining us for the first time, thank you. Be sure to share this video with your friends, tag them, and leave any questions that you have that I'll be with you today. So anyway, let's get started. So if you are following along, they'll see a PowerPoint come up, and you can follow along with us. Make sure to take notes, take some screenshots, because this is all very important information that you can use when managing your finances. And so today's topic is called Retooling Your Budget During a Disaster Period. So I know that these are just like very uncertain times that we're in, and there's a lot of doubt, uncertainty, fear, especially around money right now, right? And also health. But money is something that, you know, is something that's obviously on our mind. Why? Because maybe we're not working, or our hours have been cut, or if we're business owners, perhaps we had to put operation on hold for a minute and not be able to provide those services, or not be able to sell our products, right? And so this can create stress. This can create a lot of fear, and the reason why we're bringing this workshop to you is so that we're able to help you, at least during this time, to give you some ideas in different ways on how to manage your finances, but also making sure that you're maximizing every dollar that is coming into your home and it's coming into your business. So with that, we'll get started. We'll be on slide number 3. So if you're following along, they'll put the slide number 3, and we're going to dive right in, okay? So share, like, comment down below if you have any questions. But anyway, so before I get started with like the material that we're going to present today, I just want to share at least a personal story of mine as to why budgeting is so important. So a few years ago, I went to college. I went to Vanguard University, and I made the decision to take on student loans to pay for my studies during that time. During that time, I took out about $64,000 in student card and the medical bills I had. And at the time when I was dating my now husband, money was something that we talked about. We were studying. He was studying to become, you know, a financial advisor, and so this was something that was always a part of our conversation. And I was always trying to figure out a way so I can pay off my finances. First and foremost, you know, because my father was a co-signer in a lot of these loans that I took out. And so I felt a big responsibility because he had his credit on the line, and this could affect him if I didn't pay, because he was signing and trusting that I would pay back these student loans. And this wasn't like $2,000. This was $64,000. And so that's a significant amount of money that my dad trusted me to sign on. And as saying that I trust my child and sooner or later they're going to pay it is a big deal, right? And so I try to figure out different ways, and this is where budgeting came into place and the importance of budgeting. And so as you'll see in the slide right there, you have to know how much money you're bringing in, right? And so I knew that I had $64,000 that I would need to pay the day I graduate, right? Well, actually, they send you your first bill around Thanksgiving Day, as though that's something to be thankful for, right? Not really, but you know, this was something that I knew was going to be coming. So this was as a business office associate at CarMax. I was selling stuff online on Amazon, on Poshmark, in different platforms. I was selling old clothes that I no longer wanted, or stuff that I bought and I just never used, to try to figure out how to pay off this debt. So after rambling in and, you know, going through all these different things that I had to, like, okay, how much money do I have coming in? How much of this can I use? Instead of doing it in my head, my then boyfriend was like, why don't you just create a monthly budget at the beginning so that you're better able to track what finances are coming in and what you're spending. Fortunately, at the time I was living at home, so I was saving a ton of money because I didn't have rent. And also I didn't have car insurance that I had to pay for, so I was very fortunate that my parents took care of all those bills for me. But I still had other bills that I had to pay. Like, all my money, you know, was just not, I wasn't telling it what to do. It was just being spent going out to eat, taking my brothers out, spending everything. And that's when I realized I got to cut all these things out of my life and say no to a lot of things, or not right now, maybe later. And budgeting is what helped me. And now, a year later, after I graduated, not only was I able to pay off all those loans, I was also able to save for my wedding. So this is why I believe that budgeting is so important and can help you feel more free and be able to achieve your goals during this time. So as you'll see in the slide there, you know, at the beginning of the month, write down the following: how much money you have coming in, not just from your you know, your employer or your business, but also if you're receiving you know, other income, like maybe you sell some stuff online, or you babysit, or you do other hobbies, like all the income that you have coming in, Social Security, unemployment, disability, any income that's coming in, write it down. Write it all down. And then on a separate category, write down all of your fixed expenses. And what are fixed expenses? Fixed expenses are expenses that stay the same every month. For example, rent. Rent, for the most part, is going to be the same every single month, right? So you write that down. That is a fixed expense. Another fixed expense could be, like as it says right there, car payment, internet, cell phone. So all those are fixed expenses that you know every month it's going to be the same amount no matter what, right? So your cell phone is always going to be the same amount, your internet is always going to be the same amount, and your car payment. Those are some fixed expenses that you know are going to come out every month, and write it down. So I used a Google Excel sheet, and and we'll be providing one right here in the comments below once this presentation is over. But I know that you're able to go on Google and use Google Sheets, and they have different templates that you can use. And so I always found the one that was easiest for me. But for me, one of the biggest things when tracking all my expenses was not only knowing the amount, but when it comes out. Because I would like to plan everything and not feel like it was a surprise, right? So at least I know every 5th of the month or every 2nd of the month, these bills are going to come out, right? And now another thing to track when it comes to expenses is your variable expenses. And this is where it can get kind of tricky, right? Because that's what they call it, variable, because sometimes it's $100, sometimes it's $500. But by doing a budget, you'll realize where all your money is going. And of your grocery expenses, look at your bank statement and see how much you spend on your groceries and add it all up for that month. So if you go to, at least you can have an idea of how much you spend in groceries, and you can see, oh shoot, I'm spending $600 and it's only me and my boyfriend, or me and my husband, or it's just me and my dog. How am I spending $600 a month on just food. So those are different things that you can do. Another thing is looking at your entertainment, like, and by that I mean not just like entertainment, like going out to the movies, which unfortunately right now we can't do, but checking out your subscriptions. You know, a lot of the times, like I've talked to so many of my friends that are in college or live with roommates, and all of them each have their own Netflix subscription, which to me doesn't make sense because there's 5 people living in a home with 5 Netflix subscriptions. That's like, what, $60, $70 that instead, what I suggest is maybe talk to your roommates and everybody pitch in, or you rotate 1 month one person, another month another person. But these are things that to be aware of. Or sometimes us as parents, or maybe not us because I don't have kids yet, but maybe you guys as parents don't know that maybe your kids have a Netflix account, and you know that's why it's good to check your your bank account, right? So you see what kind of expenses are coming out, and that way you're not spending all this money, especially during this time. Right now you want to save. You don't want to spend frivolously on things that are not a necessity right now. So looking at all the subscriptions that you have, Netflix, Hulu, Disney, sports, whatever those subscriptions are for your entertainment right now, look at those and see, is this something that I really need right now? Can I go without it for a period of time, at least until I figure out, you know, what the next step is for me as far as job, employment, my business, and save those funds. You know, a lot of people tell me, well, it's just $10. Yeah, but it's $10 here, $5 there, $20 there. And at the end of it, it's like, it ends up being $100. Sometimes having a credit card is so easy because you don't feel it, so you just spend like crazy, like, oh, it's on sale, or Amazon is targeting me. And you know that, you know, a lot of the times when we are on social media and we click on something that we like, we start seeing it everywhere, and sooner or later we fall into it and we end up purchasing it, and then you wake up and there's like 37 boxes at your door wondering, where did all this come from? That's happened. So make sure that, you know, be careful with what you touch, what you do, so that you're not in that position, and also you're not maximizing your credit card. You don't want to do that because it can affect your credit score if you spend more than 30% of what of the credit limit that you have on your credit card. So for example, if you have a $100 credit card limit, you can only spend $30 before it starts negatively impacting your credit score. So keep those things in mind. Another thing is write it out. This is why it's very important to look at your bank statements and see what are the expenses that I don't even know about that are coming out. A lot of the times, like when I did what they were, and so I started doing some investigative work, I'm like, a lot of them were repeat accounts. Like I had 6 different Apple Music accounts because each one of my emails had one. So that was $100 and something that was just going down the drain. And so this is why it's important to look at your budget, look at your bank statements, know what's coming in and know what's going out, right? And realizing like, okay, these are some things that I can put on pause for at the moment and not necessarily spend my money on. All right, so moving on to the next slide. Manage what's coming in and manage what's going out. What is your monthly expenses? Are more than your income. So these are some ways to decrease your spending. So right now during this time, for example, there's a lot of companies that are offering discounts or different programs in case you have been affected by the COVID-19 or during this time. Maybe you got laid off, or your business is no longer operating. You know, hey, we know that the rent is due on Friday. If any of you are facing, difficulties right now with your finances, make sure you reach out to us. And so make sure you reach out to your tenant. If you are, renting, make sure you reach out to them and explain to them the situation. Now, if you're able to pay part of your rent, possibly negotiate something, hey, I can't pay $1,000, but I can give you $500 now, and I can give you $100, every month going forward to make up for that difference. So there's different things that you can do, but you have to communicate with your landlord and let them know. So reach out to them. I know that, the FHA loans right now, you're able to in your situation. And before you sign anything, make sure you understand. If there's something that you don't understand, defer their mortgage payment or forbearance on their mortgage, they put it on forbearance. And sometimes it might be a balloon payment and you don't know that you're signing that. And so you want to make sure of those things, that when you sign, you understand what your responsibility is for when that payment is due. Okay? Another thing is to reach out to any credit cards that you have. A lot of them right now know that what's going on right now, so they have different things that they can do to work with you. I know when I reached out for my credit cards, they said that they can extend when my payment is due. So instead of it being due in April, they extended it all the way to July. So that way I'm not missing any payment, right? But I'm still making payments even though my bill isn't due until July, that are still working. And so how do they know that you're not working and someone else is? So that's why it's your responsibility to reach out to them and explain your situation and see what they can do to work with you during this time. Maybe you pay some of it or whatever it is, but you have to reach out and make sure that you communicate with them. Right now we're at home and shopping online is so tempting, or can be very tempting, especially if you have kids. You're just trying to find different things to keep them entertained during this time. Go on Pinterest and find free things that you can do with your family that don't necessarily cost money, or maybe not too much money, and there's so many things out there. I mean, there's a ton of moms that homeschool their kids, so I'm sure they have a ton of ideas that you can use during this time to build, memories with your kids and make sure that they are fully entertained, but also you keep sane, right? Because I know it can be challenging having your kids and your new coworkers here, your husband or your wife, and so it can be stressful, right? Sometimes. So finding different, resources that are out there that can help you during this time to manage your finances and making sure that you're not spending frivolously, right? Also, a lot, so make sure you reach out to them and let them know, hey, I'm no longer driving. I'm only driving once a week for 10 miles, or I don't need to drive at all. I get everything delivered here. I'm just working from home. So is there anything I can do? Are you guys have any programs? Even just for us, they're going to give us credit and give us a discount going forward, since I'm no longer driving like crazy, because I was driving a lot of the miles, but now they're going to give us a discount because we're no longer driving like we used to. And so, but it wasn't until I reached out, so make sure you guys reach out to your companies, your car insurance. Another one is your cell phone. A lot of them are offering a discount. If you pay, they can give you a 20% discount, 10% discount. Or if you can't pay, they can work out a plan for you, so you pay later, or perhaps a smaller portion of what the bill is due. So call. What I would suggest is, as you're creating your budget, write down everything. Every company have maybe one of your kids. This can be one of the fun projects, and you're able to contact all these, your insurance, your gas, your power, your cell phone, and all the other bills you may have, and making sure that you're communicating with them and letting them know your situation. They don't know what's going on at home, so that's why it's very important that you reach out to them and let them know. So now moving on to the part where it says, look for ways to increase your income. And this part for me is really exciting. And why? Because back when, as I mentioned earlier in the training, I used to sell stuff online. And this for me was a lot of fun. Like, I probably didn't get much sleep during this time because I had school full time and I was working 2 jobs. Plus I was selling on 5 different websites online. Sounds a bit crazy, but it's totally that. And for a while it was not fun because all my paychecks would be going to my student loans, but I knew that this was a temporary sacrifice that I had to make. For now, I'm free. I don't have any more student loans, and I was able to save thousands on interest because I paid them off on time. And so there are different ways that you can make extra money. So, for example, one of the platforms that I used was called Poshmark. And perhaps in the next coming weeks, I will do a workshop on Poshmark and how to set up a store online, because it's super easy and you can sell stuff straight from your home and make money. So I set up my store online. There, I also sold books on Amazon. I would go to thrift stores and buy things that I knew would sell for a higher price value. And that was something that I was able to do to make more money. And what's great about these platforms like Poshmark is that you can sell stuff that you no longer need. It doesn't have to necessarily be new. And all you have to do is take pictures and upload them and create your title and you're ready to go, right? So there's different things that you can do. Perhaps maybe you can help babysit. Maybe you know someone in your building that is a nurse or is working at a grocery store or at a big Walmart or Target that needs a babysitter. Why don't you offer your services to them? Perhaps you can do that. Or maybe you can walk dogs, or maybe there's different things that you can do. I know that someone from our organization and the church that we're part of, and she sold out. I heard that she sold out, and that's great. But, you know, using this time, like, people are still looking for services, looking for products, and perhaps you're that person that can provide these people what they've been looking for. And a lot of times we don't know until we post it, right? And so that's why it's very important to get out of our comfort zone and try something new. I mean, we have nothing to lose, right? And who knows, maybe it will be a ton of money. Even right now, I may not need it, but I know I have extra stuff that I don't need. And so I'm listing again on Poshmark and on different platforms, because why not? If someone else can use it and I can make something for it, why not? That's money that I can use later for a vacation or to pay off more debt or whatever it is, you know? And so there are a lot of things that you can do. I know that, you know, Facebook recently launched their e-commerce platform, and so now you're able to sell there. And I mean, right now you're able to sell stuff and promote things, like, and people can come into your house and pick it up. But now you're able to create your own store within Facebook. So we'll do some research to try to bring that training to you guys. But, you know, there are so many platforms right now that you can use to sell products. And sometimes it can be products and stuff that you no longer need in your home. And maybe someone else can use those. So those are some things that you can do. Now moving on to the next slide, where we talk about how to create an emergency budget. And so this is very important. And the reason for that is because, like, you never know when an emergency is going to happen, right? That's why it's called an emergency. We don't know what can happen or when it can happen, but this is what helps us. So when an emergency does happen, it doesn't feel like an emergency, but just another life event. So for example, if you're driving and your car tire pops and you have funds for that, instead of putting on the credit card, and even I noticed that when I started building my emergency fund, ideally you would like to have $1,000. Never know an emergency can happen, right? I mean, none of us could have predicted that we would be shut down. I mean, what is it, month 2 that we've been shut down, and who knows how much longer we're going to be. I know they're talking about lifting the stay-at-home order, but things change every day. And so having an emergency fund, having funds set aside for when things like this happen, puts us in a different position. We're able to have more confidence. We're able to be less stressed out because we do have something saved aside in case anything comes up, right? So, you know, I know that there's different things that are being already maximizing every dollar. Every dollar that we spend at the grocery store is stuff that we need. And I have a big family. I have 5 kids, or I have 4 kids, and man, they eat a lot. So either you put them on a diet or you figure something out, right? So one thing you can do is perhaps like researching and seeing, okay, what are some places that are offering perhaps, you know, extra food or extra supplies that I can use to supplement some of that. That way you're not having to spend even more. Because, you know, a lot of the comments that I get from parents is that, you know, especially during the summer when kids are home, they want to eat every hour. They're hungry every hour. And a lot of it is because they're bored. And so they're just wanting to eat all the time because they have nothing else to do. So, Mom, when is next lunch? Can I have a snack? And so at school they can't do that. So I know a lot of schools are offering snacks and lunches for their students. So make sure you reach out to your schools and find out if they're providing those services or those meals for your kids, and take advantage of that, because that's another way to be able to cut costs, and you can keep some of that money for yourself and build that emergency fund. Explore benefits that are available to you. So I know many of you have already received a stimulus check, and if not, perhaps it's already in the mail. Making sure that you save part of that money if possible, right? I know a lot of the times, a lot of you maybe have bills that you need to pay, and you've already made a commitment that if you receive this money, you're going to pay the bills and the debt that's owed. But see if there's different things that you can do to perhaps cut out and save some of that money and put it aside. Maybe you filed your taxes and you're getting a tax. Another one is your unemployment benefits. Here in California, is like save part of that money if possible in an emergency budget if you can. This is all if you can, because I know it can be challenging, especially if you're at home and you don't have other income coming in. But, I know I see a lot of stories and a lot of memes and people doing TikToks like, hey, we got our stimulus check, let's go shopping. No, don't do that, because we don't know if we're going to get another stimulus check, first of all. Secondly, that money is to help you so that you're able to pay your bills, you're able to cover your groceries, any medical expenses that come up, because we don't know what can happen, right? And so it's better to be in a position where you understand where your finances are, where you can, how you can spend your money, and where you can save. And so being wise with the funds that are given to us. And then another thing is to determine what your essential expenses are. So some of those are obviously your rent, your mortgage, groceries, utility payments, childcare. At least during this time, they won't evict you or kick you out of your home because of what's the situation, right? And so right now you're protected, and you won't be affected. You won't be kicked out of your home, but you must communicate, right, with your landlord and let them know of your situation. So these are things that you do have to pay, and by having a budget, you're able to see, okay, these are the things that we have to pay. This is how much more we have left over. But making sure that you give every dollar, a name, and telling them this is what you're going to do. So by this I mean, for example, one story, or one way that my husband always explains it is like, we have all these soldiers, right? Each dollar represents a soldier, and each soldier has a mission, and what you want to do, you want them to come back with more. So soldiers, they, essentially they go out, get rid of the enemy, but they bring back something positive, right? So that's what you want to do with every dollar. You want to give it a mission. So every dollar, this is where it's going to go. You want to tell it what to do, because if we let money, so you want to give each dollar a mission. You want to give them a duty, something, a goal that they need to achieve. And then, that'll help you make sure that you don't have all this extra money that doesn't have a plan. If you do have like $100 or $200 left over that you can use for spending, well, then give it that mission. That mission is to spend on these things that I have been wanting for myself or for my kids. But you want to make sure that you designate a mission to every dollar, so that it's not just, a lot of the times we have $100 in our pocket, we go to the store, and we come back with nothing, and where did my money go? How did I spend it? You don't remember. Well, by giving it a mission, by giving it, telling it what to do, you're able to see, okay, I know that I spent $20 at Target there, groceries was $50. Okay, that's how I spent my $100. Versus like wondering, where did all my money go? So making sure that you have a mission. So I wanted to take a break right here. Questions in the chat. Hi, Karen. I know Karen, Tony, Claudia Sikina, Joshua is watching. Okay, so Gina Pang said, I use YNAB, which is You Need a Budget, to help me track my spending. It's an app website that they have. They have a podcast too. They really help me see where my money was going. Yeah, there's a ton of tools and resources out there, like Gina mentioned, that you can use so that you're able to create a budget. a lot of the times, even just our own financial institutions, whether it's Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase, they have a budgeting tool within the own website that you can use. And so Gina recommended one right there that you can use. We'll also be providing a worksheet that you can use, but there's so many tools out there. I'm sure if you just go to Google and type in budgeting workshop or sheet, you can find something that you can use. So another comment, Gina, I need to pay off my student loans too. Yes, I know. Luckily right now, people are able to put it on pause and save on interest, so that's good. Making sure, Gina, if you do have loans, contact your lenders and let them know. What I've been telling students, that even though you don't have to pay your student loans off right now, I would still pay them if you can, because it's not accruing any interest, so any payment that you make right now, it's going to go straight to the principal. So if I were you, and if you can, I would be paying those student loans right now. Just because, like, I don't want it to go to interest, right? I'd rather it go to the principal and see it go down and how much we owe. Sam Lovin says, I'm going to need to pay off my loans too. Yeah, I know. And, you know, loans can be a bit overwhelming, but it's totally doable. If you just determine yourself, I mean, I washed cars, I babysitted, I mean, I cleaned homes, I did so many different side jobs to be able to pay off these loans. And honestly, it feels so great being debt-free of my student loans, not owing that. And so if I did it, you totally can do it too. Another comment by Alexander. I think he's from El Salvador. He's like one of our top fans. Credit cards are like sin. They're always there to make us fall into temptation and then destroy. Yeah, that's definitely a way to look at it. They are definitely very tempting, in that they can be very tempting, because a credit card, you don't feel it, right? You spend money that's not yours, and so there's no like emotion there. It's almost like swipe, 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 and you don't feel it coming out of your pocket, versus if you're spending from your checking account and you go from $100 to $5, you're like, oh my God, more damage. The companies are doing it too. Yes, thank you, Gina, for mentioning that. Thank you for mentioning the fact that Progressive is doing that. So if any of you are watching and you have car insurance with Progressive, reach out to them and let them know. I have State Farm, and they're definitely giving a discount. So reach out to your car insurance company and let them know of your situation, you know, and what's going on. Let's see. My mom. That's my daughter. Okay, Karen Yak. She said, I pick up food from the grab-and-go food centers from the schools. It saves me money on milk and fruit. Yes, so if you're a parent that has kids that go to school, take advantage of this. You know, milk can be expensive, especially because kids drink it like it's water. I don't understand it, but they drink it like it's nothing. I know my brother, sometimes he likes to drink milk and eat hot Cheetos with it, which I don't understand. Seems like a disgusting combination, but whatever. But yeah, so reach out to your schools, reach out to your local centers. I know that you could go to lafoodcounty.org and type in your zip code, and it'll show you all the places near you that are providing food. I know our organization has been providing meals at least once a month. So we'll be posting it here on our social media once we decide to do it again, just because it, you know, there's limited resources, and you know, there's so much that goes into it. So if any of you need food, we'll be sharing it there once we do decide on the date of when we're going to do that. But yeah, reach out to your local schools, churches. A lot of them might be providing some of these resources and different help. I know that there's some organizations that give out diapers. There's some organizations that give out formula. And so researching, contacting your local, you know, county officials, maybe, you know, the city has different programs, and reaching out and finding it on Facebook. A lot of times people post it on Facebook. Let's see here. Karen, that's a great way to look at your money. I think you're talking about how to give each dollar a name. So, okay. I think that's it for the comments for now, so we'll continue with the presentation. If any of you have any other comments, suggestions, or ideas, please share them in the comments. You know, this is a community of, you know, where we want to uplift one another, help one another, empower one another. So the best way to do that is, if we know of something, is to share it. You know, if this is something that helped you, share it with another person, you know, and this can be very impactful, right? You know, and just a side note, one thing that helped me save a ton of money, and this is by no way a plug, but there's this app called Digit, and I'll be sharing the link later to this app so that you can utilize it yourself. And this is the app that I used to save for my wedding. So this is an amazing app because it studies, it uses psychology, and it monitors your behavior and how you spend, what your income is. And after studying your behavior, you have to hook it up to your bank account. And after it studies your behavior, it starts pulling money to the side and saving it. So you can put a goal in there of 10,000, of 1,000, of 500, and it'll pull maybe 10 cents today, $5 tomorrow. But it's money that you don't even feel. You know, I started using this app in 2017 early 2017. To this day, I've been able to save $18,000 by using this app, and I don't even feel it. Why? Because it's $1 here, $50 there, $100 here. And yes, of course, I've taken it out, and it doesn't cost any money to take out your funds, and you can get it in a day or in 3 days, deposit it back right into your checking account. But it's a great way to help you save. If you're not someone that is disciplined enough to save, this is a great app that you can use to help you save, and you won't feel it. You know, I love it. I recommend it to anyone and everybody that tells me, I want to save more and I need to pay off debt. And now you're able to hook up your credit card to it, and it'll pay it off, you know, using the same method as saving. So this is a great way to use. Oh, and actually they just released a feature where you can hook up your student loans and it'll pay them off for you too. Obviously, it's going to take your money from your checking account to pay off those loans. So it's not them paying it off, but it's your funds. But what I love about it is that it uses psychology and it studies your behavior, your spending habits, so that you don't feel it. Next slide, where it says, budgeting in a time of crisis, tips to manage an emergency budget. So perhaps you do have a retirement account, or you have other savings accounts that you have, and maybe right now you don't have any income coming in. You can definitely put pause on those and perhaps holding off in making only, you know, maybe only a little bit, or maybe just one account instead of saving with 5 accounts. You know, making sure that you're not putting yourself in a position that's going to cause more stress on your life. Same thing with credit cards. If you were in a position prior to this happening where you were paying off $500 a month on your credit card and you can no longer do that and you can only do the minimum payment, just stick to the minimum payment. That's okay. It's not going to affect you. And making sure that you are putting yourself in a position that it's not going to cost you. Saving buckets to emergency funds. So if you have like a vacation fund, a gifts fund, create those into different savings goals. So this is where, you know, you can reach out to your bank, or you can use the platform that I just mentioned earlier, Digit, to create different goals within that platform of saving, right? So for example, if you and your family want to go on vacation next year, then set that goal, $1,000, and it'll save it for you. And before you know it, you'll have $1,000 saved there, and you didn't even feel it. It didn't feel like work to you. Same thing with car maintenance, home repairs. Home repairs are a lot of a surprise, right? I know that it's never the best but when I live back at home, you know, the plumbing goes out. That's a day you have to take off from work. Someone has to stay home to open the door, and plus on top you have to pay for the labor. So if you start putting yourself in a position where you start saving for these emergencies, or where these things that are gonna come up is just a matter of when, you're gonna be in a much better position, and you're not gonna be swiping that credit card like Alexander said earlier, that can put you in a bad position because it's so tempting, right? To just put on the credit card, I'll pay it off later. Later's gonna come, and sometimes when later comes, it has all these fees that you've already incurred, right? Because you didn't pay it off on time. So those are different goals that you can set within Digit. Perhaps you can do them with your bank, but just check online. So moving on to the next slide where it says tips to managing an emergency budget. Lower your variable expenses such as utilities. So I know this can be hard, especially if you have kids or a lot of people in your home, but if there's something you're not using, just unplug it, turn it off, maybe lower the temperature a little bit, open the windows if you would like to have, instead of running the AC. So little things like that can help. I would also reach out to your utility companies, your gas and power, and see if there's any programs there that they're offering, especially during this time. I know that SoCal Edison is offering a discount, but you have to reach out to them and enroll in that program. And then take shorter showers. So that's another thing that can probably be challenging. Take shorter showers if you're able to, and not let the water run for hours at a time. Lower your fixed expenses. So these are things that, during this time, reaching out to our car insurance company, our cell phone company, our internet provider. A lot of these companies, I know Spectrum is offering a discount right now, especially if you have kids that are in school. They're offering a discount right now. Everybody's connecting virtually, right? You guys are all watching me virtually, and your kids are probably as well, to connect with their classmates, to complete subscriptions that you can live without. So Netflix, Amazon Prime, cable, Hulu, perhaps only keep the one that you're utilizing the most and use that for now and put a pause on the rest, and especially right now as we're in this time of uncertainty and just not knowing what's going to happen, or if you don't have a job right now, making sure that you're saving expenses there, right? Another thing can be, what else? Like your music subscriptions. I know there's Spotify, YouTube, all of these add up. So maybe evaluate, and maybe for some of these you don't pay and just use the free option that they have so that you're able to save $20, $30, whatever the cost may be. But moving on to the next slide, budgeting in a time of crisis. So, I know this can be hard, but reducing your food budget. So find different ways to be creative. You don't have to have a steak dinner every night or like this fancy extravagant meal where you need to buy ingredients for it and new different spices every single time, because that can add up. Like, oh, I want to do lasagna today and enchiladas tomorrow and menudo another day. Well, all those different ingredients add up. Like, how can I maximize what I already have in my pantry, the spices that I do have, the ingredients already, this can be fun. Maybe you guys can think of something new that you can try and maybe you didn't know you liked, but I know Pinterest has a lot of ideas there. Let's see. Find a way to remove $50 to $100 from your food budget. I know that can sound like a lot of money, but I know you can do it. If you look at your receipt bill and you look at, okay, what am I spending on when I go to the grocery? Is it chips, soda, candy? I mean, you can see there, those are things you don't really need. They're more so wants or your kids' wants, right? And, just to share a quick story, my brother Joshua, which many of you know, or Josue, he was always so good about this, and I'm super grateful for him, because when we would go to Target and we would go shopping, I would usually go with him and my brother Sammy, and I would buy all these things, and as soon as we would get to the register, I would turn around and look at my basket, and half of it was gone. I'm like, what the heck? Where did everything go that I had? And here's Joshua taking it out. He's like, nope, this is not a want. I mean, this is a want, not a need. And so in the long run, you don't need this, Dorima. This is just a want. This is not a need. So ask yourself, is this a want or is this a need? Because if it's a want, you can put it on hold for later and purchase it later. And same thing with like food, especially right now during this time, we want to make sure that our immune system is the healthiest. And the way that we can be the healthiest is by eating stuff that is going to be nutritious, that's going to give us vitamins, boost our immune system. Not saying that any of these are the cures for any of that, but by having a stronger conversations with your children, letting them know, no, you know what, during this time we're going to cut back on junk food because we're going to build up our immune system during this time by eating fruits and vegetables and meat, and proteins that are clean for your body. So things like that you can do. Can be bags of toilet paper, which I didn't understand because none of the symptoms of the coronavirus include diarrhea. So I don't know what the thing with that was, but for some reason everybody was buying a lot of toilet paper, hand sanitizer, different supplies, and hoarding everything, food and all of that. And as you've seen, the stores are still getting restocked. There's still supplies there. Luckily, you're still able to buy toilet paper, but don't hoard, let's be cognizant and aware of our surroundings, but also of other people that may need those supplies, and you probably don't need 1,000 rolls of toilet paper. Also, online spending. Make sure if you do have your credit cards hooked up to online sites, maybe take them out of those you didn't know, or because you didn't have no self-control and you just hit buy. So, get creative during this time with your family. Get the board games out, get the puzzles out, maybe watch some old movies, maybe you guys can practice some plays, maybe you guys can learn some cool TikTok dance videos and have a competition with each other to see who does it the best. So use this time to create memories with your family that, we're never, I hope, knock on wood, that we never go through this again. This is a great time to just really spend time together as a family, create memories together, because who knows how much, when we'll get this again, this opportunity to spend this much time with our families, and I'm sure they can get annoying, they can get loud, but let's make the most of it, and create memories with our families and with our kids. So find different ways to get creative. And for the last slide, it talks about different relief sources that are out there for FHA loan. Like I mentioned earlier, contact the bank that's financing your mortgage and let them know, what's going on. For tenants, for renters, pay your rent if possible. Explore, the option for moratorium and evictions if necessary. Contact your landlord. It's very, very important that you contact them and let them know what your situation is. Same thing with the utility bills. A lot of them, I know SoCal Gas is offering a discount. I believe it's a 20% discount. And all of these discounts add up. So make sure, you sign up for all those different programs and reach out to everybody and let them know what's going on. Federal student loans, temporary suspension of payments. So like I mentioned earlier, they're putting a temporary suspension on payments. But if you're able to pay, make sure you pay, because it will all go to the principal. So you can essentially pay your debt, your student loans faster, because it's all going to the principal versus the interest. And then another thing is credit card hardship programs. So allow you to lower or suspend your payments to reduce your interest rate for a set time. So contact the credit card companies and speak to a person. A lot of times people like to just go the easy way and just do the chat. No, contact a person and always ask them to send you a confirmation email or a letter in the mail so you have your protection. It's not to say that you don't trust the person that you're talking to, but it's always good to have things in writing just in case. You just never know. So just in case, have that written down and have it in, whether it's email or a letter or fax, however the company does it. Make sure you have a hard copy of the agreement that you decide on, whether it's paying your credit card later in the future or paying a less amount now. Have that in writing. And then lastly, you're able to call the number 211 on your phone. And this is a local phone number that you can call to find out about different resources within your region. So all you have to do is dial 211. And this is something that one of our local partners told me about, that you're able to do, whether you speak Spanish or English. You can dial 211 and it'll direct you to the county and they can tell you about all during this time. So I know I'm a little over my time with my presentation, but I did want to thank you all for joining. That's my presentation. I'm going to take a minute to look at the comments again to see if there's any questions or other suggestions that I can share with everybody. So give me a minute while I check here the different comments. Decided to live at home for the rest of her college years because she realized how expensive it is to dorm at the school. Yes, and that is so true. Like, I commuted to school too, and it saved me a ton of money. And I know a lot of students, they think like, I want to get the college experience and don't, I want to live out there and not have my parents tell me what to do. But long term, on to dorm, like that didn't make sense to me, especially if you're able to and you're able to drive, do it. Obviously, if it's a 2-3 hour drive, it may not be worth it, but look at your options. Gina, Karen, they have a Facebook page too. There's a free trial. So they have a free trial if you guys are interested in that program that Gina suggested in the comments. So make sure you check it out. Sam Levin, I use Clarity Money app to check where I'm spending my money. Yes, that's a great app. I know there's Clarity Money and there's also True Bill. And I think there's another one, I think it's called Albert, where you hook it up to your accounts that you have, your credit cards and your checking accounts, and it'll tell you where you're spending your money the most. So I would definitely use those programs and see how you can maximize your funds, right? And then, let's see. Another thing, who else? Karen Yak, my husband is great at making creative dishes with the food we already have at home. Yes, that's awesome. I know my parents have been super creative with some of their foods. Even growing up, they've always been creative with like the breakfast that they made us and the lunches that they made us. And sometimes they were not the best, but sometimes they were the best. And we weren't able to recreate them because they were so random, the ingredients. But anyway, that's awesome. And then Gina Payne, yes. Sam Levin said Clarity Money is an app. Yes, that is an app that you can download on the Droid store or the Apple store. You're able to download it. There's Clarity Money. There's also True Bill. That's the one I use personally, and I like it because it'll tell me, hey, this is how much you spend this month, or your bills went up this much. Here's how you can reduce them. So there's different things that you can do for that. So I think that's it as far as comments and questions. I don't know if there's anything else, but we just wanted to provide this workshop for everyone, each and every one of you that are watching, to just be able to give you other ways to maximize your dollars, save, and how to budget during these times, and hopefully provide a little bit more of like peace and calm and just how to navigate through these times, right? And so hopefully this was a benefit to every one of you. I do want to mention we do have a raffle at the end of this workshop. I have not forgotten. I know a lot of you are waiting anxiously for that. If you are watching this workshop and you didn't get the chance to sign up for this workshop, we will be having workshops tomorrow at 2 and 4 p.m. as well as Friday, and the following week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as well. Send us a message with your name, email, and the workshop that you're signing up for, or you can go to our events section in our Facebook page and register there. This is just a way for us to see how many people are participating in our workshops, but also once you sign up and register to save your spot, you'll be entered into a raffle to win a $50 gift card. So if this is your first time watching with us, you still have opportunities tomorrow to join for our workshop as well as Friday and the following week. So make sure to sign up before the workshop begins and provide us with the information so that you too can participate in the raffle. But with that, I think we'll get started with the raffle. You guys should see a Wheel of Fortune on your screen come up, and it should have everybody that registered for this workshop's name. And like I mentioned, you still have the opportunity for tomorrow's and Friday's workshop to be able to participate and win a $50 gift card to Target.
Yes.
So you just have to live in this wonderful country of USA.
Okay, so should we do it like we did it at the Spanish group, the out of 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the third one will be the winner, just to have consistency throughout the course of this.
Okay, I'm gonna shuffle it.
All right, we're gonna shuffle it.
And
okay.
How do you say that, Sammy?
Mrs. Morales.
All right.
Mrs.
So
Morales.
we
Okay, so
have
she's
a
still
chance.
in it, but all right, I'm
We
gonna
still have
shuffle. Angie Lopez. but she's still in it. So
Okay,
shuffle.
now it's the winner, right? This
Yes.
is the third one. So this is the winner. So if you're watching and you hear your name, send us your info so we can send it out.
Yes. And spinning.
Okay.
Okay. Carlos Rodriguez.
Oh,
Carlos Rodriguez.
So Carlos Rodriguez, you're the winner of our $50 gift card to Target. If you're watching, please send us your information so we can mail out this gift card to you. And like I said, if all of those that are watching, please make sure to sign up for our future workshops so that you too can win, but also make sure that you get this information that can be of value to you. And I want to thank all those that participated and engaged in our comments. Gina, Karen, Sammy, and everybody else that I haven't mentioned on here. If you participate, I want to thank you all for engaging and being part of today's workshop. So with that, I hope to see you all tomorrow at 2 p.m. We will be having a workshop with Google talking about how to set up your business on Google Search and Google Maps. So if you have a business, tune in. Tomorrow it'll be at 2 p.m. in Spanish and then at 4 p.m. in English. Be sure to register. If you have any questions, reach out. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.